So we know that maple and rosewood fretboards look and feel different, but do they really sound that different? That's what we're going to find out and talk about in this video. Hey, it's Nate here from Guitar Fam, and I got both of these guitars on Facebook Marketplace. I'm only keeping one, but I figured this would be a great time to do a video on the difference in sound and tone between maple fretboards and rosewood fretboards. So what I'm going to do to cut out as many variables as humanly possible is I'm going to take the neck off of this guitar, the maple fretboard, and put it on this guitar and do some sound samples for you, some comparisons. So I'll do the red one as it is first, and then I'll put the maple neck on it just so everything is, you know, all things being equal. And then we should get a pretty good idea of, you know, the difference that a maple fretboard makes or a rosewood fretboard makes in your tone. And for the playing examples, I'll go through a few different styles, but I'm also, you know, I'll leave an amp modeler, and I'll use the HX Stomp or Helix Native and leave the settings on the amp or the modeler the same for both versions. But I'm also gonna include the direct, the DI sound, unaffected, you know, no amp models or anything. That way we'll get a really pure representation of what things are like. And this guitar has, what are they called? The V-Mod pickups, and they're a little bit brighter and clearer than these Fat 50 pickups. So I figured I'd use the one on the red body here, since those pickups seem a little more hi-fi. I might be able to pick up a few of the more minute differences there. Okay, here are the sound examples. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one do you prefer, maple or rosewood? And can you even hear tonal differences that even matter? Use some headphones too. That'll help you hear the differences the best. All right, I haven't listened to those sound samples back yet, but for me, like just playing both of these guitars and going back and forth, as far as tone, I really don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me. The main thing for me is the feel of maple. I've always liked the way maple feels, and I think that's because it feels more dense and less porous than rosewood. I have to admit, most of my guitars that I own are rosewood fretboards. I have one guitar with an ebony fretboard and it's an acoustic, and that feels more dense and harder to, and I like the way, really like the way that feels. Not necessarily sounds, but I like the way it feels. Another reason besides the feel that I like maple is because Eric Johnson plays mostly maple fretboards, and Greg Howe plays mostly maple fretboards. And those are two of my favorite electric guitar players. So it really comes down to just feel and kind of second kind of cool, or, you know, what I perceive is cool as far as the players that I like. All right, I just finished editing this video and listening to the sound samples, and I figured I'd just insert a clip giving 3 observations and kind of opinions about everything after I went back and listened to it. The first thing is that Fender does a really good job of making things seamless with their modular, you know, the way they do their guitars. Bolt-on necks are meant to be replaced if you want to switch them out, or if one breaks or something like that. I took the neck with the Rosewood fretboard off and threw the maple one on. I didn't have to do anything to the setup on the guitar. I just bolted the guitar neck back on, played it, and went right to it. It took like 10 minutes. It was really cool. So great job, Fender. That was really encouraging to see. Second thing I noticed, and I've never noticed this before because I don't think I've ever gone back and forth between Rosewood and fretboard and a maple fretboard guitar before that much, is I had to put more effort into my vibrato on the lacquered maple fretboard because my finger would hit the lacquer and it would kind of give it some drag and not be as free to move around as much as an unlacquered fretboard, the Rosewood fretboard. Now that may change if the maple isn't lacquered as heavily, because this one is really heavily lacquered. It's really shiny and the lacquer on it's really thick, but it took some effort, a little bit extra effort to get the vibrato, the same amount of vibrato out of the maple fretboard as the Rosewood. Okay, the third and probably the most important thing is the actual tonal differences. What things that I hear as I was doing this. It was more different than I thought it would be, and the differences weren't what I expected as much, you know, with the kind of lore around what people say on the internet about Rosewood versus maple fretboards. What I heard, and I got this thinking in this kind of analogy from guitars that are made with maple back and sides. When I hear a guitar that's made with maple back and sides, like a Dove or something like that, like a Gibson Dove, what I think of is a lot of bass and a lot of treble and a really scooped mid. And that's kind of almost what I heard. It was smoother and rounder, but the high mids kind of tapered off, and then the extreme highs were still there too. But that kind of ended up making it smoother sounding in the highs and the mids. And I think one of the reasons I like that is because of Eric Johnson. If you listen to his tone, it's really smooth. The Rosewood fretboard I thought sounded more akin to an acoustic guitar with like a mahogany back and sides. It was very even, very open. It seemed like it had more treble overall in the treble area, but that was kind of balanced out with maybe a little bit less bass response and kind of more even mids too. So I would say it's more balanced. Like if you had an EQ, it would be more straight across, and the maple would have highs. The mid scooped out a little bit, and then a lot of lows back into it. That's just my personal preference. Let me know what you heard in the comments. So that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below between the differences between a maple fretboard and the Rosewood fretboard. And let me know also if you have any other ideas for videos for the channel as far as gear. I'm having a lot of fun just kind of buying and selling this, you know, one guitar over and over again on Facebook Marketplace. So if there's anything that comes up that I can get my hands on, maybe I'll do a video on that. Also, if you haven't yet, go to guitarfam.com and create your complimentary account. You can get access to all of our free courses, plus the first module of all of our premium courses too. And every Guitar Fam member, whether it's a complimentary account or not, gets one personal private one-on-one lesson with me, and the first one is complimentary. See you guys there. Thanks.